blue beam of light bursts out of her body and wakes up Dane DeHaan. And then, so all this crazy stuff has happened, and Dane DeHaan goes, "Computer, can you analyze that?" And the computer goes, "It seems someone put memories in your head of an alien culture." And it's like, whoa, so that's how we're going to unravel it? Is the computer's just going to tell him? Like, the movie sets up crazy things happen, bonkers things, and then somebody's just like, "Oh yeah, that's the thing that does such and such." Moving along, like there's
he seems
problem
very
integrating. Yeah. So they go on their first mission of the movie. They're special agents. They're picking up a rare animal called a converter, which of course is the armadillo that poops pearls we saw earlier. You feed it anything, and it poops out copies of that thing. It's the last one of its kind in the universe. And of course, they land on a desert planet and ride a hover school bus to like a space mosque, where there's an interdimensional kind of market bazaar where you have to wear VR goggles. There's tourists wearing VR goggles to see this market bazaar world, and he has a box.
And like special gloves to interact with the market.
So Dane DeHaan has like a box. He has a box he can stick his hand in so that he can point guns at people in this other dimension. And he stops an alien who's like a Jabba the Hutt type, but not really, who sounded like he was voiced by John Goodman. Was it?
Yeah,
I think so.
Okay, but he's like a fixer type, and the fixer type is giving the converter or selling the converter to some bald aliens that look like the ones we saw earlier in the movie. And
they're very clearly those same same race of aliens.
And I'm just trying to create the mystery, and they give him in exchange one pearl, which apparently is super valuable and full of energy, but Valerian's disembodied hand sticking out of a portal with a gun, stops them, and he takes the converter and the pearl. And there's a big chase through the bazaar ensues, and then eventually they have to fight off a big dog lizard as they escape off the planet. And him and Laureline are like, it's your basic, lots of crazy things happening and little jokes along the way, and like running into people and going whoa, 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 and then explosions, and it's just your imagination of what this thing is basically what it is. It goes on for a long time, and it's not a bad science fiction chase comedy action sequence, but it certainly let's just say it outstays its welcome. I was ready for them to get away from this place long before they were out of there. And also, the bad guy sicks this big lizard monster on them, and the lizard monster's just doing what it's been trained to do. And they get rid of it by... It climbs onto the back of their spaceship. They take off the spaceship, and it falls thousands of miles to the surface of the planet. So it's
presumably to its death.
Yeah, it has to be.
I would have liked it better if it had like a little cartoon puff of smoke at the bottom of it, like if it was a Roadrunner cartoon.
And then it just went, ow!
Yeah. Or if it even more so if it like held up like one of those little signs.
Sign. Yep.
Okay, so guys, let me tell you my honest opinion of the movie at this point in the film.
Yeah.
I was like, this is exactly what I want this movie to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it is like a nonstop crazy science fiction cartoon where I don't think there was one moment where I cared about the plot or the characters. But it was like, Luc Besson, just keep throwing crazy things at me. And it wasn't until the last 20 or so minutes when the plot kind of kicks in and they're trying to tie things up and they stop throwing crazy stuff at you that I was like, movie should have ended before the movie ended. But I gotta say, this was by this point I'm like, movie, you've cast a spell on me.
Yeah, no, agreed.
I mean, so much of it is the leads at this point, and throughout the rest of the movie, are so over it and unimpressed with everything they see. It's kind of difficult for you, the viewer, to enjoy it, because you're like,
yes.
Should I also think it's dumb? Should I also be annoyed that there's aliens running around?
The characters go over the edge from being cool and cynical to being just like assholes who are like, ugh, this again. And it's like, movie, if you can't be enthusiastic about your movie, then like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know? But okay, so Valerian escapes. They took and Laureline, but I'm going to say Valerian because he's the one with the name in the title. He must be the important character. So Valerian and Laureline escape. They have that converter, and they've got that magic pearl. Valerian examines the pearl, and the computer again is like, oh, this is full of energy. It's from a vanished planet. And he goes, look up that planet, and they say, access denied. Information on this planet is only for generals.
What is it, fucking
Alpha.
Camino or something? And frankly, it is a lot like Camino.
Yes, it is very similar to Kamino, except Kamino always had bad weather.
Yeah, and it looks like this planet has only good weather, so
Yeah,
my intellectual property lawyers have no grounds to stand on.
Yep. Much as in Star Wars, all the planets have one environment, this environment is beautiful beaches all the time. Never a rain cloud.
This, we're getting to the point where Valerian and Laureline are coming back to the City of a Thousand Planets. And speaking of which, what you're saying, like, the computer gives them a recap about the City of a Thousand Planets, and it's like all stuff that they should have known already, but it's just so we in the audience can get an information about it. And likewise, to, you know, like, planets all being the same, in this place, like, all aliens just seem to do one thing.
Yes.
Like, they've got, like, the one job for each alien.
There's some aliens that handle computers, some aliens that handle, I guess, janitorial. There's the aliens in human resources. There's the one alien race that just fixes the printer in the copier, make sure there's enough toner in it. There's the one alien race that organizes the birthday parties in the office. There's the alien race that's just receptionists. There's the alien race that does a lot of data entry.
Yeah.
There's the alien race that is you're not really sure what they do around there, but they've been working there longer than you, so you assume that they have a job that you just don't know about. There's the alien race that's all middle management that don't really need to be there, and they kind of understand that in a way, so they're real dicks so that they can feel important. There's the alien race that's the boss's son, who, he doesn't even show up half the time, but you know he's going to inherit the company. Or, inherit Alpha, the City of a Thousand Planets, and you're like, ugh, come on, he's going to run it into the ground. There's that one alien race that's always getting caught faxing its resume to other space stations. They all just do the one thing, each race.
Yeah.
And here's
That's a good summary. That's a good summary, Elliot. Thank you.
Thanks. But it is true, Dan, supposedly they live on Alpha.
Yeah.
So it's like if you were driving home to New York from out of town, and your car was like, "Welcome to New York City, population 7 or 8 million, founded in 1890 whatever, when New York and Brooklyn combined to make the 5 boroughs in one," and you'd be like, "Okay, I get it." You're like, the East Village is where the cool college students hang out, but also in Williamsburg. You're like, "Okay, I get it, thank you."
Papaya King serves hot dogs with papaya juice. Who'd have thought it?
So they go there, they report in, and they find that from their immediate superior, there's a secret radioactive thing in the center of Alpha, this field of deadly radiation that keeps getting bigger, and everyone they send into it has disappeared. But that's when Commander Clive Owen walks in.
Hello.
And Stuart, what does he say when he walks in?
Says, "Pip pip cheerio, it's me, Clive Owen."
And he's got a chimney sweep outfit on, I think.
No, his outfit looks more like it looks more like if Sheriff David Clark merged with one of the bots or bats from G.I. Joe, because it looks like he's got a big circuit board strapped to his chest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's a Sheriff Clark character. Yeah. And so there's this big meeting that's going to go on so that the commander can figure out what's happening with this thing in the center of Alpha. And Valerian and Laureline are going to protect him. They've been assigned to. And he's like, "It's okay. I've got these K-10s. They're these super boss-looking robot assassin soldiers that follow me everywhere, and they don't have faces." And he's like, and they're like, "No, we're still going to send Valerian and Laureline with you because they need someone to watch the commander." I assume because he's going to run off and have a Ferris Bueller's Day Off type adventure if he doesn't have chaperones. And they're like, "Where's the commander? He's supposed to be at this meeting." And then you hear, "Donkashane." Except it would be Astro Donkashane.
I don't know. I feel like the way this movie uses pop music, it would just be Donkashane.
Yeah, I guess so.
It'd be like a remixed.
Yeah, it would be like a techno Euro Club DJ version of Donkashane. Anyway, and Laureline, she's befriending the converter who poops out energy pearls for her. But Commander Clive Owen goes off on his own. He's torturing one of these bald aliens. Uh-oh. He wants a converter, but Laureline won't let it go.
And does this follow the rule of the second most famous person is probably the bad guy rule.
Yeah.
Oh, very much. Second most famous person?
Or the most Clive Owen-y person.
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
guy.
I would say that Rihanna's probably the most famous person in the movie.
Okay, very fair. That's true. I'll give you that. I think as soon as someone shows up in a position of authority, or where someone who the hero is supposed to trust, who is played by a bigger actor than is needed for a role of that size, and you know they're the bad guy.
And is probably English. So, like,
yes.
if David Thewlis were to show up in Wonder Woman, per se, you would assume that maybe he might be the baddie.
If David Thewlis shows up,
you're doing like your weird Jeff Foxworthy routine now.
He might be a baddie. That's
if you're David Thewlis and you're appearing in Wonder Woman, you might be a bad guy.
If you're Colin Firth and the next most famous person in your group is Toby Young, you might be the baddie. If you're Max von Sydow and Tom Cruise is supposed to trust you, but you seem really creepy, you might be the baddie. If you're Benicio del Toro and you meet the heroes in a prison cell on an alien planet, you might be the baddie.
Yeah.
Come on, do another one.
Yeah, Dan,
there's got to be more of them.
If you're James Woods in just about anything, you might be the baddie.
Except vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good in that.
If you're Breathless Mahoney and there's another character who talks with like a weird voice and has no face, you might be the baddie.
Yeah. I'm glad you used that cultural touchstone from Dick Tracy.
Dick Tracy was huge. Yeah. It was enormous.
Yeah. Not a critical hit though. Not a critics didn't like.
It was nominated for a couple Academy Awards for art direction and costumes and stuff. And makeup.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
Best performance by Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles.
On Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, he's told the story a couple times about how he was up for that role of Mumbles and auditioned for Warren Beatty, and Warren Beatty was like, "It's great, I want you for it, and let's do this." And then he didn't hear anything for a while. And then his agent was like, "Oh, they hired Dustin Hoffman to do it." And I wonder if it's like Warren Beatty was like, Dustin Hoffman was like, "Warren, I want to play Mumbles. It's the part I've wanted to play since I was a kid. I've always loved Mumbles." And Warren Beatty was like, "But I promised it to Gilbert Gottfried." And Dustin Hoffman was like, "It's me, Dusty, your Ishtar buddy. Come on, you've got to let me play Mumbles. Come on." And he's like, "Oh, all right." And Warren Beatty was like, "I'll make it up to you someday, Gilbert." And Warren Beatty started a little company called Aflac. And now you know the rest of the story.
Oh, wow. Thanks for filling in the backstory there, Elliot. So in this movie,
anyway,
Clive Owen's a bad guy.
So you know Clive Owen's a bad guy because he might as well be rubbing his hands and shifting his eyes from one side to the other the entire time he's on screen. And also, let's remember that he was in Croupier, which is kind of a sinister movie in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
So there's a council meeting. Valerian goes in. Laureline has to wait out in the hallway, and she has a conversation with these three kind of like these three or Watto. They look kind of like Watto from episode 1.
Yeah.
These like little gargoyle, long-nosed things who are information brokers and always want money. Because if it's a science fiction movie, and there's no reason for this, in a science fiction movie, the characters who are always interested in money have to have long snouts. I don't know why. I don't know what that means. That it's always the long-snouted things that want money. It's always characters or aliens with big noses that for some reason are obsessed with money and putting prices on things.
I don't
and work the kind of
I couldn't guess what the coding would be for that though. Like, is there a real-world equivalent?
I can't think of one.
Maybe?
That part where
love money.
That part where she said, "Yeah, they never forget where their money is, or if you owe them anything." The part where she said, "Can I take out a loan?" And they said, "Yes, with interest, because our religion allows us to charge interest, whereas yours does not. That's why we've been pushed into this economic sphere." I don't know what it could possibly mean, that all these long-nosed aliens in science fiction movies love money. But anyway...
and they got into an elevator together, and she had to push the button because it was the Shabbos, they said?
because it was Astro Shabbos. Anyway, so They sell her some information about a major who was murdered recently, who seems to have known something about that planet. But an alarm goes off. There's an attack by the bald aliens, and they shoot everyone with this goop that doesn't kill them; it just incapacitates them. But Valerian escapes using a mouth-mounted spider bot that comes out and cuts a hole for him. Because this movie is constantly showing you inventions that nobody uses ever again, which is something I kind of like about it.
Yeah. And so this is the same aliens from the beginning of the movie, and they show up and they shoot their like jizz cannons all over everybody.
Yeah.
And they seem to have some kind of technology that blocks normal guns from shooting them back.
Yeah, something like that. They kidnap the commander, and Valerian chases them a while, so we get another amazing chase, where it's just a chase through Alpha, and this one was a little too video gamey for me. What do you guys think?
Well, the thing that we noted was that Valerian is just sort of shooting randomly around in a giant city, like in the space station city, and we also didn't know kind of what his end game was, if he was like shooting at the spaceship that contained the commander that he was trying to get back.
Yeah, is the commander immune to laser blasts?
I think when you become a commander, they give you a special pill that makes you immune to laser blasts. Yeah. But he loses them.
It was pretty. I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like video gaming is too often used as a catch-all term for just like action movie with special effects. But it did feel, and it also felt like he was running through the habitats or the biospheres for each of the alien races that were introduced to us by the computer when they were pulling into Alpha.
Yes.
So it's like, did they only put that in earlier so we would get the areas he was running around in?
I mean, maybe so that when he starts swimming through an underwater area, we're not like, wait a minute, there's an ocean on this space station?
Yeah, were they worried we would choke on our gushers that we're eating, or bonkers? Which one were we allowed to eat? Gushers? Do they serve gushers in movie theaters anymore, guys?
Oh yeah, on silver trays. You have to order it only in Alamo. You put your card up, and then a French waiter comes by with a silver tray and says, your gusher, monsieur. And then you take it.
Then he opens an umbrella because your head turns into a piece of fruit, then squirts juice all over everybody.
Yeah, and they call in the mortician to clean it up because your head has exploded and you're dead now.
Yeah.
And they're like, another kid with his brain transmuted into gusher juice.
Yeah.
Why do they keep him on the market?
Yeah, we should probably stop selling these things.
Yeah. And
RoboCop's going to crush it under his boot.
And the theatrical agent goes, what a great trick. And the kid who's now dead from the gusher goes, yeah, but I can only do it once. And their ghost goes to hell.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. It was for other reasons, though.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because they did bad things in their life. It's not like, God is not like gusher death, instant hell. No. There's some people who go to heaven after gushers makes their head explode. The Dalai Lama, that's how the last Dalai Lama before this one died. Also, I think that's how Rosa Parks died, was a gusher explosion.
Okay, well, we're getting to a weird area here.
You think the Parks family is going to sue us for libel? I don't.
Now, in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, when the weasels turned into ghosts, did they fly up to heaven?
I think they did. They were shown with harps.
That makes me question a lot of things about Christianity, guys.
Stuart, it's called the mystery of God's grace.
Yeah.
Okay.
We don't decide who gets to heaven. He does, and it's unfathomable.
The question is, would a loving God allow a hell to exist in the first place?
Oh, wow. You know, Who Framed Roger Rabbit brings up a lot of questions, guys.
Dan, if there's a world where Judge Doom is not going to cartoon hell, then I don't even want to live in it. Okay. Come on. He killed that innocent boot just to show them how the goop works. Come on.
All right.
I think he calls it dip, right?
Yeah.
Goop is a different branded property.
Yeah, that's true. Originally, in the original version, the boot had to buy some questionable medical products from Gwyneth Paltrow, and that's how he died.
It had a vaginal egg put in it.
Yeah, and Robert Zemeckis was like, "This is an unwieldy way to threaten the characters."
This is too horrifying.
Can't we make it like some kind of a dip? And that he just made it up on the set. And they had to rewrite a lot of the film to fit that.
Yeah, he was looking around and there was a sick spinach dip on the per diem table.
They're like, just use this. And Christopher Lloyd was like, I didn't rehearse using a dip. I'm going back to my trailer. And they had to talk him back onto the set. Because Christopher Lloyd does not like last minute changes. You gotta believe that. I heard on the set of Piranha 3D that he was really he was like, nothing about this movie has to change, or else I'm out.
Yeah, and he kept saying stuff like, well, on the set of Suburban Commando, Hulk Hogan did this. And they're like, we got it, dude. Yeah, he kept flexing and talking about his 24-inch pythons running wild on him.
He was like, I was just afraid of those snakes. I didn't want those snakes to run wild on me. And you're like, oh, Christopher. Oh, yeah. Lloyd.
Like, should we tell him?
And Hulk Hogan was in the back going, don't tell him. He thinks they're real snakes.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of game he's playing to make sure that he needs Christopher Lloyd to think that he's got a couple of snakes.
Hulk Hogan's like, I forced him to put me in his will by telling him my arms can turn into snakes like that one He-Man character.
This is a weird place we've gotten to.
Well, no weirder than the movie Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, Dan. Because let me tell you what happens next in it. Valerian has entered some kind of zone and he can't get out of. Loreline is taken into custody, but she escapes. She's gonna go after him. And the general, who's the commanding officer, says, I want to find out more about this planet where the Baldies come from, and finds he's been locked out of the file, too. Only the commander can get in. Loreline does what anyone else would do to find their missing partner. She uses her 3 information gargoyles to hire a pirate in a submarine to steal a brain jellyfish off of an underwater dinosaur and then stick her head in its butt so it can read her memories and then tell her where Valerian is.
and basically show her images from the movie that we just saw 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's her memories or that's the image the brain jellyfish projects, which means... Did the brain jellyfish make the movie we're watching?
My guess is
Are our heads all stuffed up brain jellyfish butts?
I mean, that's what Descartes was really asking about. It's possible that our heads are just stuffed up brain jellyfish butts, and we're just being fed in a movie that we think is our life. That's the basis of philosophy.
I also like the idea that Luc Besson was writing this, and he's like, all right, I need to figure out a way that Loreline can find out where Valerian is. What is the simplest A to B way that... What is the logical connection?
Occam, lend me your razor so I can cut a path through this narrative thicket. I have to believe that the jellyfish is a movie bootlegger, already saw Valerian, and like is just showing her what he filmed in the theater. Long story short, she finds Valerian, she revives him, and the general frees the alien that the commander had been torturing, who lets out a blue flash of his own. Valerian and Loreline, they get caught by some big, tubby alien fishermen who kidnap Loreline to, we find out later, have her brain eaten by their king, although she gets clear.
So they get caught by these fishing aliens.
Yeah.
And so Loreline first gets caught, and then Valerian gets caught intentionally and immediately just shoots the guy who caught him, which makes me question, why didn't Loreline just shoot the guy who caught her?
That's a very good point.
I mean, I guess it speaks to the difference in character between our two leads.
I mean, Valerian is more of a shoot first, ask questions, never character. And Loreline is more of a get stuck inside of a wicker basket and somehow not be able to find her way out character.
Yeah.
And of course, this is after they had another conversation about whether they should get married or not. But, so, Valerian has to, it's weird, instead of shooting us, so she's been taken to a place that is kind of like a barbarian no-go zone, and the only way to get in there without starting a diplomatic incident, he says, is to go in disguise. How are you going to do that? You gotta go to the kind of Sin Alley area, which is called Paradise Alley, where it's full of outer space hookers, including one dressed as Jessica Rabbit from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah.
And he needs a lamp.
That's called an Easter egg, Elliot, for the true fans.
Yeah, because he's a rabbit.
And also, to kind of validate our arguments earlier about Judge Doom.
Yeah, see, Dan, it made sense that we went down that rabbit hole because there's a Roger Rabbit reference in this movie. And also, I have to admit, it makes me wonder why I haven't seen more Jessica Rabbit-themed cosplay pornography. Maybe I'm just not seeing it.
I think you're just not looking, dude.
You think it's there?
Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's there. I don't know for sure. Why is Dan looking at me?
I don't know. Because Stuart is saying I don't know for sure.
I'm starting to sweat.
With a face that makes me suggest that he does know for sure.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm just being too vanilla heteronormative when I'm like, why is there so much porn about like a Transformer having sex with Sonic?
Yeah.
Or like Sonic being pregnant with Knuckles' baby, and very little about Jessica Rabbit. But maybe it's because the itch that Jessica Rabbit scratches is easily scratched by your mainstream heteronormative pornography. Whereas you gotta go to the internet to find your Sonic carrying Knuckles' baby pornography.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Is that the case?
If we were to, like, make one of those memes where the brain gets filled with more and more electricity, Jessica Rabbit pornography is way on top. We're talking
It's
about
when there's very little electricity.
Yeah. And then bottom, it's like Bart Simpson has eaten Mario, who is pregnant with Sonic's baby or something.
So what would be in the middle of that?
Wow, I don't know. I'm not interested in that sort of thing, so I can't even bring my brain to think about it.
Okay, well, so he's got to go to Paradise Alley to get a Glamopod to disguise himself. We never find out, I think, what a Glamopod is. Unless it is what he manages to get.
I think
Does Ethan...
Isn't
the
it
aforementioned...
what
Is it what?
Isn't it what he gets? I don't know.
I don't know. Because I thought it was like a piece of technology. What happens is Ethan Hawke, Space Cowboy, brings him in to watch Rihanna's body double do a pole dance for a while, where she keeps shape-shifting into different fetish-based costumes. She's a schoolgirl, she's a nurse, all that kind of stuff. And he says to her, I'm going to free you in exchange for your help. And he uses a hidden gun to zap Ethan Hawke, and they escape with him wearing the shapeshifter, who it turns out is a kind of globular being named Bubble, who still sounds like Rihanna. So maybe she's a Glamopod. Maybe that's what that is.
This is about
they go in.
This whole adventure where Laureline is captured by these monsters, and he has to find this Glamopod to go get her. Like, this is the point in the movie where I'm like, I wish all the people who saw The Last Jedi and were angry about the casino scene, thinking that it had no bearing on the rest of the plot, watched Valerian and the City of the Thousand Planets. There's so many side adventures that just, like, serve to prolong the movie, and they're fun. They're all fun side adventures.
The movie. It's one of those movies where the plot only exists to give us a reason to leave the plot to go on side adventures.
Yeah.
Because you're right. This whole sequence, which I thought, which is pretty fun, and Laureline, who's been trying on dresses this whole time, because an alien is forcing her to try on dresses, gets to wear a huge white hat that we only realize at the last minute is a platform so that the top of her head sticks out, so that they can cut the top of her head off so that this alien emperor can eat her brain.
Yeah.
It just looks like a huge sun hat. This whole sequence, it has no bearing on the rest of the movie. It's totally unnecessary. And the diplomatic incident they were referring to does not happen. Even after they kill everyone there.
Yeah, it's this, like, state-sanctioned assassination where these agents show up and just murder the leader of this.
Yeah, he goes through all this trouble of sneaking in there with this Glamopod, and then he eventually just shucks her off of him and like goes around as Valerian himself, killing everybody. And it's
killing
like,
everyone.
Yeah.
And then Rihanna's Glamopod dies, and she's like, "Thanks so much," and it's like, why, dude?
She's like, you gave me a taste of freedom, you're the best, and she should marry you. And she turns into an Egyptian pharaoh and then crumbles into dust. And you're like, wait a minute. So this character, that was one of the moments in the movie where I was like, these heroes are jerks. Like, just basically hired this, if the hero of the movie went to a strip club, told a stripper, I'm gonna wear you as a costume. You have to help me save somebody, and then you're gonna die. That's not a heroic thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, when you lay it out like that, I guess it doesn't sound heroic. That's why you gotta change words to Glamopod and diplomatic incident, etc., etc.
Now, Valerian tells Laureline this alien bald princess that put a dream in his head has been guiding him this whole time. Have we seen any evidence of that happening? No, I don't think we have. They go into the dead zone, which it turns out is totally livable. There's no radiation there. There's just a portal to some kind of alien place where all the aliens are. And they find that so they've kidnapped the commander. The bald emperor, who is a male character but has a female voice, says that when they die, they can release their souls into other people that they choose as their guardians. And the princess, when she died, chose Valerian as her soul guardian. I don't know why. They haven't met each other before. It's kind of like a random Tinder hook, to be honest.
In a movie with a lot of stuff, this seems unnecessary. The whole, like, sending her spirit out to guide him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they were already on a mission. Their mission was, they were already set on the path to where they end up.
Yeah.
They didn't also need to have memories implanted in his head.
No, it's completely superfluous and unnecessary, and it adds another layer of, like, chosen one to this, which, as you guys know, is my favorite type of plot device. Someone being a chosen one and there being a prophecy of some kind. Anyway, they tell their backstory, which we all could have guessed by now. They lived in peace on this planet. There was a big battle. Somebody gave the command to fight above the planet and kill everybody there. Guess what? It was Commander Clive Owen. What a surprise. What a big secret. And he erased all the information about this planet from the database. He killed the major who was there when he gave the command and told him that the planet was inhabited to cover up his crimes in destroying this inhabited planet. It's the kind of stuff that, if I can get political for a moment,
sure,
the kind of stuff that our leaders do with the military, kind of like every other day, where it's like, there's terrorists in this building, blow it up, boom. Oh, it turns out it was a wedding. We killed a lot of children. Well, let's go. So I don't know that it would be such a scandal in real life. People would be like, fog of war, man. He did what he had to do, blah, 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 blah. Anyway,
it was
not
a whole
to sound
planet.
like
I mean, they do...
Yeah, but a whole planet, what were they doing? Making pearls out of armadillos' butts? They sound weird.
It was kind of hard for me to wrap my brain around the exact stakes involved, because it was a little bit like, well, they were already having a space battle, and he just blew up that ship. It doesn't seem that crazy.
Wow, you guys are apologists for genocide.
No, just the opposite, Dan. We're saying that we live in a cynical, fallen world where, unfortunately, that kind of stuff happens all the time, and nobody cares about it. And Dan, maybe your liberal guilt makes you feel like, oh, well, I read about this in the New Yorker. I feel so bad for a moment. Ooh, where's my avocado toast? Blah, yum, yum, yum. Let me pet my cat as people are being killed by our government in our name overseas. But you know what? They're not Americans. I'm never going to meet them, so they might as well not exist. They're shadows. They're not even full human beings. Why don't I sit here and watch fucking Tales from the Crypt or whatever with all the electricity and clean water and food that I want? Oh,
and all the pearls you would ever need to wash your face there.
Yeah, I ordered too much food. I'll throw away half of it because I don't care. I live in first world luxury, even though my government's destabilizing countries on the other side of the world. Wake up, Dan. Wake up.
That's fair. That does sound like me.
Yeah, also...
That's a pretty good impression.
Also, wake up San Francisco with your host, Danny Tanner.
Yeah, but at this point in the movie, like you said, they explain what we already kind of guessed, and they do it like 5 times.
Yes, yeah. They really think that either whoever's watching this is super dumb, or that you have been so pummeled into bonkersness by all the things you've been seeing, you can't hold information in your head anymore.
Yeah.
So they have to keep repeating it to you. Like you've been mementoized by this movie, and you can't remember more than a couple seconds in the past.
So
anyway.
there then exists a standoff. Clive Owen gets to chew a little bit of scenery, show those acting chops of his. They knock him out with a single punch because Valerian's super tough. And the aliens explain, like, oh, we just need the magic stuff that you just brought us so that we can live in harmony and peace forever. See you later.
We'll find another planet with a spaceship we built. We need the converter and a pearl. Valerian gives them the pearl, and Loreline's about to give him the converter. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We're under orders to deliver that converter to Alpha. I follow the rules. I'm a soldier. And it's like, dude, you just punched out the commander-in-chief of the army. Like, now you're going to balk at breaking the rules? Like, come on.
He hasn't seemed to follow the rules much up until this point.
That's
certainly
true. He's
not.
Never been a rule.
He barely seems to follow the rules for consent.
But in the end, she says to him, "You gotta trust people," and they give the converter. But then there's an even a bigger standoff. She kisses him when he gives the converter over. Shouldn't even have been his decision to make, frankly. But at that point, human troops who went to go save Valerian show up. They show up with those robo-droids, and the commander gives the command for the robo-droids to start shooting everybody. How the droids heard him, I don't know. He's behind a portal.
Yeah, but his voice, he's got one of those voices that just carries, you know?
That's true. That's why everyone was telling him, hush, keep it down now. Clive Owen carries. Remember that song?
Yeah.
That's great. You nailed it.
Hell Tuesday.
Anyway, but then the fight goes crazy. The robo troops are shooting everybody. They set their bombs with a timer everywhere, and there's gonna be explosives that go off. The general, who up till this point has just kind of stood in the same place on the same set barking orders at people, his assistant, a character that we've barely gotten to know up till this point, risks his life in the crossfire to turn the bombs off, and manages to do it 1 second left in the countdown. Uh-oh! And Valerian and these robo-soldiers who have been mowing down the regular troops, Valerian single-handedly takes down all of them using like a pistol.
Yeah, and a lot of jumps.
Yeah, a lot of flips and jumps. Yoda-Rowski really taught him his Jedi training to do a lot of flips when he was on Dagobah Rowski. In Star Wars Rowski. It's just like Star Wars, but everyone just has Rowski at the end of their name.
Yeah, I got it.
Do you get it, Dan? A little behind on this one?
Yeah, I'm a little slow on this one. I don't know if I follow.
Well, it wasn't very good, so that's okay.
Okay.
In the end, everything turns out fine. They arrest the commander. The aliens take off in their spaceship to another planet because all they need is pearls to make their planet live again. Just like in the original version of the Beatles song, all you need is pearls. And then people were like, that's not really a universal message. It's hard for some people to get pearls. And John Lennon was like, I don't give a shit. Just change it to love or something. And it turned into all you need is love. Now you know the rest of the story. And Valerian and Laureline are off in a space capsule floating somewhere. And he proposes again, and she starts kissing him, and he says, is that a yes? And she says, call it a maybe. And in classic James Bond style, it is implied that they will now have sex while they wait to be rescued.
Yeah.
You are now leaving the city of 1,000 planets.
And then we get some bloopers, right?
Yeah, some bloops.
No, there weren't
there?
bloopers, guys. I'm just fucking with
I was
you.
like, you made me so excited. I was like, wait, did I miss the bloops?
So, guys, this is the most expensive non-American movie ever made.
Yes.
And also the most expensive independently financed movie, since it was made seems to have been made by Luc Besson and then all the banks who got producer credits that were early in the movie.
Yeah,
When banks get listed as producers before the stars of your movie are listed, that's not a good sign.
They may be the baddies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, kitty, don't go over there. Sorry, the cat's on the table.
That's not a euphemism?
Yeah.
It means
I don't know what that would be a
literally a cat on the
euphemism
floor.
I feel like Dan is testing out his new catchphrase. Oh, kitty, don't go over there. Dan, I invited my boss over the same night we were gonna have your wild bachelor party. Oh, kitty, don't go over there. It's your kind of like talk to the hand, I guess, or like Icaramba.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a hugely expensive movie. I mean, it looks hugely expensive.
Yeah.
I don't know that there are any shots in the entire movie that are not effects shots.
Yeah.
There's everything. There's always stuff flying around. There's always CGI monsters. The sheer variety of CGI monsters it's crazy. They're all over the place.
Yeah, I love all the wacky alien design. That shit's great.
And I'm just gonna be honest with you guys. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, except for the last 20 minutes or so, I really enjoyed this movie because it was just a nonstop parade of side quests and wacky aliens.
Yeah.
It was just like colorful explosions and monsters.
As always, we've jumped into Final Judgments without actually saying they were doing Final Judgments.
Final Judgments.
Whether it's a good, bad movie, a bad movie, or a movie you kind of like, Elliot says movie kind of like.
I would say it's a movie I kind of liked. And like on Twitter, Stuart hinted we were doing this movie, and someone tweeted back and was like, oh, it's so bad. And I wanted to be like, sir, I think you may be a little disappointed in my rating. Because aside from the fact that, one, the leads are not particularly charismatic and the characters they're playing are real pieces of junk, real mean. Two, the plot is I never cared about. Three, the last 20 minutes are repetitive because it's Mexican standoff, and then we gotta stop this detonation and shoot. Other than those things, and also the fact that the whole time I was watching it, I felt a little bit like I was in a sort of dream haze state because I was having trouble following all the colorful things flying around at all the times. Other than those things, this was exactly what I wanted out of a kind of Euro space opera crazy film.
Yeah.
I feel like if I had started the movie, gone over to settings, gone over to language chosen French, subtitles English, I would have liked the movie a little more.
So how did you feel about it? You didn't like it so much, huh?
I would say I'm kind of in between a movie I kind of liked and a bad movie. Because it's not really a good bad movie, but like
no,
anytime the movie pauses for breath to like explain the plot, the whole operation grinds to a halt.
That's true.
It looks gorgeous, and I like a lot of the stuff about it, but yeah, you know.
I think I probably liked it the most of the three of us. Did I get bored? Yes, I got bored at times. I feel like because you don't have a lot of investment in the major characters and the plot of the movie is so convoluted that you don't have, like, the stakes are a little weird, it's easy to get a little distracted after a while, even though beautiful things are happening on the screen. But for the most part, again, other than the things that Elliot said, I really had a great time.
I enjoyed it in a way that I didn't think I was going to. And you gotta give points to any movie where you hire a pirate in a mini-sub to steal a jellyfish off a dinosaur so you can stick your head in its butt so it can give you information.
Yeah. I feel like...
I'm just saying, give that movie all the Academy Award, right now.
Yeah, I feel like if they just made the central plot simpler, it would have been better. Like, you could have just as many...
Oh, yeah.
It's one of the things that makes Mad Max Fury Road so great, is that the basic plot is very straightforward. But there's plenty of room for crazy shit to happen in the edges.
What this movie gives us is the best and the worst of Luc Besson. The best is that, from a visual standpoint, he's always got super imagination. He knows how to do, like, crazy fast-paced action sequences, and there's lots of style. But the bad weaknesses is he's never been great with plot. He overcomplicates everything, and he confuses a cool character or an unfeeling character.
Yeah.
And especially when one of the subplots is that Valerian really wants to marry Lorelei, and the whole time you're like, why? You don't seem to like her very much. He doesn't seem to like you very much. Like, what's the deal? You're both too cool. TCFS, too cool for school, you know?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we gave Valerian I say movie I kind of like. Stuart says he's not sure, and Dan says favorite movie of all time.
Moving on.
Dan's confirming that. It's confirmed.
Yeah. He didn't say no. Better than Stop Making Sense. Raves Dan McCoy.
That's right.
Hey, this is Griffin McElroy.
Hi, this is Rachel McElroy.
And we've got a new podcast on Maximum Fun called Wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's an enthusiast podcast where we talk about things that we're excited about and things that you're excited about.
Things like overalls,
24-hour Sudafed,
the grand prize game,
the fact that wombats use their butts to kill predators,
the soundtrack to the movie Dick Tracy,
the beach potion we call Bud Light Lime.
All these things and more every Wednesday, and we'll also talk about things that you're excited about.
You can find us on MaximumFun.org or iTunes or wherever. I don't know, just search Wonderful. Google it, you'll probably get there.
Hey, you, with the headphones. Just between you and me, the Max Fun store just got some of that sweet, sweet new merchant stock. You know, that merch from your favorite Max Fun shows? Could be posters, tote bags, shirts, stickers, patches, aprons. We got it all. Well, we got a lot. Point is, there's some new stuff. Go to maxfunstore.com.
So we've got a few sponsors for the show.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Are you sure? You want to do this with us here, or would you prefer one of your now classic solo ad reads?
No, I would love to do it with you here. But I'm scrolling through my phone. I'm sorry that I'm taking a delay here. Trying to find the...
It's just a sign for Elliot and I to vamp a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, now in a situation like this, normally Dan would ask us a question, and we would answer it while he looks up the stuff on his phone. Seamless. Nobody knows that he's just covering up, that he's not prepared and doesn't know what he's doing. But instead, he blurted it out loud and left it to me to call attention to that even more so, as a way to fill the time. Stuart, what's your play-by-play on this? How do you feel about it?
Well, I'm trying to think, has there been a movie made of a European cartoon that's been good, like a European comic book that's been any good.
I mean, I've never saw that Tintin movie.
Oh, okay.
That
Tintin.
Spielberg made. Was that one good? Tintin, yeah.
People
I
seem to
really
like it.
I like the Tintin movie a lot.
Okay.
Actually.
I haven't seen it yet.
And let's not forget. Oh, you thought what?
I thought it was the Indiana Jones movie that Crystal Skull should have been.
And what about the Asterix and Obelisk movie with Gerard Depardieu? How's
That's
that?
what I was gonna say. Yeah. Or what about the one where Roberto Benigni plays the Emperor of Rome?
Yeah. What about that one?
Yeah, you love those Asterix movies, right, Dan?
Yeah. I wasn't even aware that they existed.
They're huge movies.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
big
Europe.
deals. Yeah.
I like the comics. That's not what we're talking about, though. Let's talk about Blue Apron instead.
Okay.
The Flophouse.
List of aprons.
The Flophouse is supported by Blue Apron. Blue Apron partners with sustainable farms, fisheries, and ranchers to bring you all of the ingredients you need to create incredible home-cooked meals. Ingredients, yeah.
You know what's the best thing about those ranchers? Because they're sustainable and because they're giving great food to you, they're happy. You might even call them Jolly Ranchers.
I was waiting for it, and I was not
We're like,
disappointed.
you left that money on the table. You know Elliot's going to snatch that dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, you say ranchers, I'm gonna add Jolly to it.
Ingredients come paired with an easy-to-follow recipe card delivered to your door weekly in a refrigerated box. How do they refrigerate that box?
Wait, Dan, that was the part that shocked you the most, that it's a box? That was the part you could...
Most refrigerators are boxes.
All right.
That was the most childlike I've ever seen you, in the way that kids get really excited when they see a box because they can play with it.
Yeah.
A box?
Well, look, you should rediscover how fun cooking can be while enjoying specialty ingredients and exploring new flavors and cuisines. And you can get $30 off your first order by visiting blueapron.com/flophouse.
blueapron.com/flophouse, and you get $30 off your first order.
That's right.
That's great. What a deal.
Yeah.
And hey, you don't have to order it for yourself. You can get it for someone else. We used to talk about this, and it's still a good idea. Do you know a friend who recently had a child? Do you have a friend who's recovering from a surgery? Do you know a friend who, for whatever reason, is having trouble taking care of themselves right now? Get them a Blue Apron membership, and that food gets delivered right to their door. It saves them time, saves you the effort of having to go there in person.
Yeah. You don't have to make any sort of convalescent calls.
And it's going to be a little bit healthier than just getting takeout all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our other sponsor for this episode is ZipRecruiter. Are you hiring?
Yeah.
Posting
Yes.
Really,
Yes.
Elliot? What are you hiring for?
I've got a new company.
Okay.
Maybe you're gonna like it. Okay, so I was inspired by this movie that I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. And I was thinking about, okay, how many planets are there out there? Nobody knows. It's time for us to find out. So I figured I would hire somebody to count all the planets, and not, you know what? And to really do it right, not to just be like Earth, Mars, Mercury. There's 3. No, I want you to count all the planets. And I don't care how many kids' placemats with pictures of the solar system on it you need to go through to make sure you've got an accurate count of all the planets. Because there's got to be, what, Dan? How many planets do you think? Like 10 at least?
Like 12.
Well, in the whole universe, there's got to be like at least 12. So I want to hire someone to count these planets. And it's, you know what? I'm not making money off this. I just want to have it done so that humanity has the science, and we know in the future how many planets there are. But I need to hire somebody. I can't just walk out of my house and yell, "Somebody count some planets for me," and hope someone's going to hear it and show up. If I take a bottle, put a message in it, throw it up in the air, it's just going to fall back down and smash on the ground. That's not going to help me. If I put a note on a carrier pigeon, someone's going to catch that pigeon and eat it, throw the note away after wiping their face on it. Now, how am I going to find someone to hire for this
Now,
stuff?
what is this hobo universe you're living in?
I live, you know how there's all these different Earths in the DC universe.
Oh,
I live on
okay.
Earth Hobo.
Okay.
In Earth Hobo, there's lots of empty bottles lying around, and people are always catching pigeons and eating them.
Yeah. All right. Well, here, this will help you. Posting your position to job sites and waiting for the right people to see it, that's no good.
That's what I was saying.
ZipRecruiter has revolutionized hiring. Their technology finds great candidates for you. It learns what you're looking for, identifies people with the right experience, and invites them to apply to to your job. And right now, our listeners can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/Flophouse. That's ZipRecruiter.com/Flophouse. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
I think, you know what? I think I figured out who I'm going to hire for this job.
Yeah?
I need someone with accounting experience, and I need someone who's okay being up all night. I'm going to need either Count Von Count or USA Up All Night host Rhonda Shear. She can count stuff, right?
I've never seen any evidence that she can't count.
Okay, and she's been up all night.
Yeah.
And Count Von Count is a vampire, so he's out all night anyway.
Yeah. These are all good points.
Does
Okay,
he,
so
does he,
thank
like,
you. So
does he
thank you,
dictate
ZipRecruiter.
all his counting? Do you
What?
think? Do you think Count Von Count would do it's all dictation? Or
He certainly says it aloud while he's doing it, and he loves his work because he laughs between every number.
So we should move on to letters
okay?
from
I
listeners.
thought
Hey,
we were
wait,
doing,
Dan, I have a
Oh, you got
Dan, I
Jumbotron.
have
Sorry.
a Jumbotron message. It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Stuart, do you have a Jumbotron?